everyone, to A Mexican and a Redneck Father the World. We are your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today we'll be discussing your money is your focus.
Your money is your focus.
Boom. It just sounds good.
It does.
I don't know what it means, but it sounds
I like
so
it.
good.
I guess, it talks about what you spend your money on is what you're focusing on. 'Cause, that's we did that. We did that podcast about budgeting your time. So now we're
Yes.
going to be talking about budgeting your money, which is a correlation of your time, right? The two are tied hand and foot.
Yes, correlation of your time. I like that,
Yeah.
Professor. Correlation, big words. My stocks and yachts. I'm just messing with you. No. I mean, so the
Completely
concept,
deflated.
your money is your time. The whole idea behind that is, or your money is your focus, not your money is your time. Your money is your focus. That's what the topic of the title is. Are you a slave to your debt or your lifestyle, or are you in control of your money?
Yeah.
And that's a question worth asking if you have any money.
Oh,
If you don't, I hope you enjoyed the next 13 minutes.
No, you will, because even if you don't have money, you're going to learn some basic principles as far as like how to get money.
And then you'll
And
be
then-
rich after
Yes,
listening.
Yes. After you listen to the next 15 minutes, you are going to be rich.
Maybe not with money, but with knowledge.
Yes.
Okay, enough joking around.
Man, have you ever seen those what is it? Marketing shows or some show send me there's this psychic show that I used to watch, send in $1 and then something's gonna happen or something like that. You ever seen those kind of
I have.
infomercials? I don't know what that is.
No. My dad got called by one of those people, and they said, hey, Eric, we wanted to give you, if you give us $1, you will, if you donate $10 to our cause, you will supernaturally receive $100 back. Be blessed. And he said, really? They're like, yeah. And they said, if you donate $100, you'll receive $1,000 back. You'll be blessed 10 times what you invested into our organization. He's like, wow, that sounds amazing. He says, what happens if I give $1,000? Like he was taking them for a run.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you give 1,000, you'll be blessed with 10,000. He said, that's amazing. He said, I've got a great idea. I love what you're saying. They're like, well, yeah. He's like, you're going to love this. The guy's like, okay, I'm ready. He's like, what if you give me $10,000? You'll get 100,000 and you won't have to make as many phone calls today.
Wow.
They said, that's not how it works. He said, yeah, it is. They said, no, Eric, that's not how it works. Yeah, the way you explained it, that's how it works. We covered this 3 times. You agreed with me. And he's like, you don't understand. He's like, I understand. Don't call again.
Man, I was just about to pitch that to our audience.
Oh,
All 12 of them.
all 12. If they all send us $10,000.
You'll be supernaturally blessed. Just send it to a Mexican or redneck.
Nobody's going to send us money. Just
No,
stop.
We don't even have a place to send it.
We don't. We're working on that, y'all.
Yeah.
We really are.
Maybe not. Who knows?
No, but I mean, the concept of this really is are you a slave to your debt or lifestyle?
Yeah.
I know those guys who they work hard, they get a good degree, they get a good job, they're making 6 figures, like let's say $100,000. You're like, man, this is good, $100,000, I'm making it. And then they're like, I want that house, I want that nice BMW, I want that. And it's like, yeah, these are great things to own, but now you're $150,000 in the hole, and you have to keep that job. You have no freedom, and even worse, at the rate you're going, you're going to have to get a different job, and it's all going to be based off of how much it pays you, not the joy it brings you.
Yeah. How do I say this? But, if you don't budget your money, then your money's almost gonna entrap you. It puts you
Oh,
you in
yeah.
a slave situation. Like I told the story earlier about, as far as like when I was 19 and I got my first credit card. It was
Mhm.
a $600 credit card limit, which I'm so thankful that it was only $600, because at the time when I got that, I remember getting that credit card, and I was working this job. I can't remember what job it was, but anyways, I quit my job because I was just like, I don't like it. And then I felt depressed, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna do a good deed. So I took my mom out shopping, and I spent $600 on her, thinking like, oh, this will be a good deed. I'm gonna be supernaturally blessed now because I blessed my mom, right? No, that didn't happen. So then, because I didn't pay that credit card, so then that credit card went into collections, and that $600 that I spent on my mom turned into $1,800 that I had to pay back. Which, looking back, it was a really good learning lesson, because then it put me in a situation at 19 where I couldn't get any more credit. Thank God. Because if I would have been able to get more credit, I probably would have and spent more money on it. So it made me put a situation to where everything that I had to buy it out cash, had to buy it outright, you know? So that was a really good lesson to learn, which it was rough, but you know, we talked about this. There's probably courses out there that you'll spend $1,000, $2,000 to learn how to budget, how to, you know, be in control of your money. Because being in control of your money is huge, man. Like, I wouldn't be in life right now. We wouldn't, like, I feel like you can probably say the same thing. I know you can. If we weren't in control of our money, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. It's you know, it's Friday morning. You know, we're recording a podcast, but you know, instead we'd probably be like, oh, I gotta go make some more shekels. I gotta go make some more. You know, gotta figure out how to make more money. You know, when you are in control of your money, there is freedom in it, because you know where it's going.
Well, mental freedom, not just I got to go work a second job or whatever to make extra cash on the side, but you're mentally free because you're not stressing over that debt. You're not stressing over that, oh, I owe so much. You know, I got to make more. You have the freedom to think about stuff and do stuff like this. You know, you have the, not just financial, but the mental freedom to say, well, you know, I only have to work one job, and I'm good with that. And I have the freedom to think about these ideas in my downtime and not worry about how am I going to pay stuff back. And that's worth a lot to me.
It's huge.
Because I can think about these podcast episodes when I'm not at my primary job.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that
what
freedom.
do you say to the guy out there who's like, you know, they're in debt and their finances are all out of whack? What would be the first advice you would say to them as far as to getting that under control?
Take a deep breath and truly evaluate your life. Because I had to do this. I was the newly married couple my wife and I were. We had the great big debt. We bought the house, and we had all this debt. And we're like, oh my goodness, we're 23 years old and we're $250,000 in debt between a house and student loans. And now we have a bunch of equity in our house. We don't have any debt. We own our vehicles outside of the house. Of course, that's our only debt. For now. But my goal by 40 is to not have debt. So here's to the next 4 years. But I would say truly evaluate, because we had to sit down and say, you know, basic things like, where is every penny? Like the littlest cent, where is it going? I mean, it's a basic principle. There's great people like Dave Ramsey. He's a popular one. And, you know, they just tell you, count every penny. Yeah. See where it's actually going. Don't round up. Don't round down. Actually count, you know, how much do I really spend on gas? How much do I spend on food? You know, are you eating out once a week and it doesn't seem like that much? Because we found out we were spending like $600 a month on eating out, and it's like, oh my goodness, we're pig. This is crazy. Yeah. What are we doing?
Oh man, eating out will tear you up.
Oh yeah, and you're just so bummed out. You're like, I need something to make me happy, and you just reach for that temporary fix to that long-term problem. And so that's where we had to really evaluate and say, do I really need the name brand, or can I get by with the generic, you know? And so that really budget, and then once you budget, say, what can I eliminate? Because you know, if you can get rid of that overhead, I think that's one way to start building a financial empire, a peace of mind. Get your overhead down, and then build from there. How little can you live on, and then, okay, I can live on this much. Great. But I actually make this much,
Yeah.
you know, and I make so much more than what I live off of. Then start building and say, okay, what are luxuries I can start putting back in? You know, even that $15 subscription to, you know, whatever streaming service, that adds up,
Oh yeah.
you know.
And how much value does it actually bring you? Are you watching documentaries and learning and developing yourself, or are you escaping from your reality?
Well, clearly, if they're listening to this one through their preferred streaming service,
They're improving themselves.
they're improving themselves, and this is worthwhile. And we
Yeah.
encourage you to keep listening.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Man, you know, it's funny. Like one of the lessons that I learned going back to that story about me getting that credit card at 19. So one of my good friends at the time, he got himself a new car, and he bought a BMW at 19.
Those really are nice, though.
It's a nice car. It's a nice car. He bought on credit. You know, he was making monthly payments on it. But man, it was so sad because he got put in the situation where he's 19 years old and he had to get a second job to pay for that car. And so I put myself in a situation where like I couldn't afford to go get a car. Like I really wanted a car. I was like, man, he got a nice car. So I was like, I actually went to a dealer and tried to get a car, and they're like, yeah, you have no credit. And I was like, oh, so what can I get? And so I had to buy like a beater car, you know, for my dad, like his old GMC truck, which was a tank, which is amazing. And I was just like, but you know, I had to pay cash for it. But then it's like here, it was so funny, man. Like I saw the contrast of like being enslaved through credit versus, yeah, I had debt, but then, and it was one of those things where like I ignored it, which is a really, really bad thing to do. I should have taken care of it, but you know, I was 20 years old, so you know, but it did put me in a situation where like if I had to get something, I had to pay for it for cash.
Oh, yeah.
But then too, it kind of helped me go on this path of learning like, okay, how to live below my means. How do I actually have a savings account? How do I actually have this money to where, yeah, I got that. Yeah, but by the time I was 27, I got that cleared up. My credit was built back up. And then so when I got married, you know, I came into marriage with like very little debt.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, my wife, you know, she brought the debt to the marriage, but then, you know, it helped us out because now I had a plan to be able to like, okay, I've experienced lack. I've grown up in lack. So for me, it was more like having her and I working together and be like, yeah, we really don't need this stuff. Like, you know, we really don't need the newest car. We need a functioning car, a safe car, but it doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles. So, because it's amazing, man. A lot of times we get things because we think that item is going to make us feel better, but it doesn't make you feel better. You know, you get that little rush of endorphins momentarily, but as soon as you get it and the rush of endorphins is gone, it's gone. And then you're chasing the next thing that's going to make you feel better. Instead of developing the habits of having freedom to be able to know like, yeah, I can go out and get a car on credit, but I choose not to.
So that's a good segue into what into another part of this that I definitely want I think this is more for our male. Well, I don't know, I'd say male and female, but I know and I'm saying this from a male's perspective because, you know, I don't really have close women friends. It would be more like a husband-wife friend, like you and your wife. We're close with y'all, but like you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't have one-on-one time with your wife. That would be inappropriate. That would be inappropriate. So, but I'll talk to guys and they'll think they're shielding their wives from the stress of worrying about finances. And so they won't talk to their wives about the finances.
Mm-hmm.
They'll bear the weight of that burden on their own shoulders. And their wife will just be like, oh, I want to spend money. I want to go get this. I want to go get that. And he's like, well, let's not get that just now. And she's like, why don't you want me to have this? And what he's doing is he's going at it alone.
Yeah.
He's trying to bear that burden on his own. It's like, what are you doing, dude? She's wanting to be a part of your life. She wants to share life with you and do this with you, you know. And my wife handles the finances. She's really good at finances. She's done finances for many organizations and corporations. She has like a
degree on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she handles them, but I know where the money's going.
Right.
I'm not counting every penny, but I understand exactly where it's all going. So we're unified in that. And there's a relief in that, because it's like, even if we don't have money, we're unified and aware that we don't have money.
Yeah.
You know? And if we do have money, we can celebrate together instead of me feeling like I did it all on my own, because then it creates this strange, one-sided, you need me. You can't do this without me.
Yeah.
And there's this weird pride thing that comes in. Not the good
Control
pride.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a bad pride control thing comes in. And then you have this strange dynamic where the couple's not unified, but one potentially feels superior to the other one, and the other one potentially could feel inferior.
You know, and I know that can be a tough thing too, because, you know, you may be in a situation where you're not making the money that you want to make.
Sure.
You know? And it's like, as a husband, you want to be able to provide for your family.
Oh, yeah.
You want to be able to enjoy things. And it can be hard sometimes, having to tell them like, hey, we can't do this right now. You know, but then if you have that open dialogue with them, it's like, hey, we can't do this right now, but look, there's coming a time where we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be able to do this, and there's not going to be the stress of like, how am I going to pay for it? You can go out right now and put it on the credit card, but then you're not going to be able to actually enjoy that item, because then you're going to be wondering, how am I going to pay for this? But then when you are able to go out there and buy it and not have to worry about like, oh, how are we paying for this? It's amazing. Like, what was it? A few months ago, our minivan, it was going out, and I was like, you know what? We should need to get a new one. And so we went out, we bought a used van, but we bought it out cash.
Yeah.
And like, it was such a neat feeling. Like, the guy was asking us like, hey, how are you guys going to pay for this? And I was like, oh, we're just going to pay you cash. And he was like, oh, okay. And so just being able to do that was like really, really neat.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then just being able to enjoy it. You know, we still got to maintain and take care of it, but there's not the stress of like, oh man, if it breaks down, I still have payments. Because going back to like, oh man, like that was the worst. Like, I remember my friend's car breaking down. The guy that bought the BMW.
Oh yeah.
His car broke down. He couldn't drive it, but he was still making a $500 a month payment on it.
On the car he couldn't drive.
Yeah, and I was just like,
that hurts.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts bad, because it's like you bought a used car on credit, and then an expensive car. Because you know, BMWs, you just can't take them to like any old mechanic shop.
They're luxury.
Yeah, they're luxury.
It's a real sports machine.
Yeah. So anyways, and then I had my little clunker truck, and it's like, I just, you know, anybody can take it. Like, oh yeah, this is what's wrong with it. And like, oh okay, that's cool.
Just about everybody could fix.
Yeah.
Beat up old GMC.
Yeah. So
that's what we love about them.
That's the nice thing. So with that being said, guys, I hope this was entertaining for y'all, and hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. Maybe not. Maybe you did. Oh, well, we'll find out. But we definitely want to thank you for listening to Mexican to Redneck Follow the World. We love you, and we're proud of you.
Mexican